Representative Madison Cawthorn, like the youngest person ever to be a representative, also has some other noteworthy things about his personal history. So let's jump into it. In October, more than 150 former students at the college that he went to signed onto a letter blasting the then candidate for his behavior during his stint at the school, which they wrote, quote, was marked by gross misconduct toward their female peers. During his brief time at the college, Cawthorn established a reputation for predatory behavior. His MO was to invite unsuspecting women on joy rides in his white Dodge Challenger. Cawthorn would take young women to secluded areas, lock the doors, and proceed to make unwanted sexual advances. The letter also noted that women at the school were warned not to be alone with him. One student taken on one of these fun rides, as he called them, says she felt something was off and shut down the conversation. She said then he got really upset and he whipped the car around and started going back to campus at 70 to 80 miles an hour on these one-lane roads. And it was really scary. I can imagine that's the case. In addition to the claims from those Patrick Henry students, at least 2 women have also alleged that he forcibly kissed or touched them years ago, claims that he has previously denied. He told CNN last year that he regretted actions he took and apologized to anybody he had made feel uncomfortable. But note that he also at one point said he's never done anything sexually inappropriate. So it's interesting to apologize for the things you did, but then also to claim I am unimpeachable when it comes to my sexual morality. So which is it, buddy? But we know which it is. Imagine you could not find 150 people at my College of UConn that even remember that I was there. And yet he has over 150 people saying, oh no, that guy was a predator. Everybody knew to watch out for him. What do you have to do to establish a reputation like that for yourself, Viviana?
We just heard. He practically kidnapped women and took them to secluded areas where he intended to rape them. That's what he did. And I like people were warned about him because then it's your fault for getting into the car with him. You were warned, so you're not a victim, you were a willing participant. You knew he was a psycho. You knew people told you he was gonna do those things and he was a sexual predator. So this is your fault. That's exactly what we warned you means. I mean, a lot of people, it's difficult because obviously there's a sensitivity when you're dealing with somebody who uses a wheelchair. You're like, okay, well, perhaps, we'll give this person the benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You have to hold everybody to the same standard. And this guy has to be responsible. But again, like we were just talking about in Cuomo, there's no consequences for this kind of behavior. In my situation and in other situations, there was no rape. So in this case, if there's no rape, then nothing happened. So you can't be violated.
Unwanted sexual touching, I mean, I would argue
it's minimized
in that category.
I agree. That's assault in my opinion. You're touching me in a sexual way. I don't care if there's penetration or there isn't. That is assault, but that is not how it's categorized for other people. It is downplayed. Well, they didn't know. They didn't know that groping was wrong. Do you grope your mother? Do you take your sister out into a secluded area and try to kiss her? It's wrong. And if you were confused, then you should say, oh, I'm so sorry, let me take you home. Not let me speed back and scare the living lights out of you because I'm threatening you now because you are whatever negative thing he wants to call her because she didn't play along and made him feel rejected. This is especially in college campuses. I mean, this is rampant. I remember when the Me Too movement just started and my little cousin was over at my house and I said, this happens a lot. Has this ever happened to you? She proceeded to tell me, she said no, and then said, well, she proceeded to tell me a story about how she got really blackout drunk one time in college and she woke up with a guy having sex with her. She got scared and she left. She didn't consider that rape, John. She didn't consider that assault. She considered that her fault for getting too drunk. This is what's happening. This is what needs to change. We need to continue to educate the population about not objectifying yourself or others, because this is the kind of behavior that gets into this snowballed way. And men do not get to have a free pass because they're famous or they're powerful or they're using a wheelchair. No free passes, sorry.
Yeah, I would argue we should have even more expectations for people who want to be political leaders that want to actually lead congressional districts. Now, look, a lot of the stuff that we saw, including his comments, the fact that he sped back, the calling them joyrides, that might lead you to believe that he doesn't take this seriously. And to that effect, in response to the latest allegations, his office released a statement on Monday saying, the voters of Western North Carolina responded to these allegations by giving Madison Cawthorn a 12-point victory over his opponent.
And a high five.
So if you believe that, if you believe that he doesn't actually care about this, I think that's all the confirmation you need. No, that's the new thing, by the way. What's that?
We have a rapist in the Supreme Court.
Yeah. No, but he's on, so it's good. And Trump said the stuff that he said, but then he got elected, so it doesn't count anymore. That is what we always hear. If there are enough awful people in America that don't care about these things, then they're not illegal anymore. They're not immoral anymore. There's nothing wrong if there's enough a-holes in America that are okay with the crap that you've done as a person. Okay, well, maybe you can get elected, and maybe Madison Cawthorn can get reelected, even after we're gonna tell you all the other stuff that's gone on with him. But we're still gonna point it out because America may not have higher expectations for its leaders, but we at the very least do.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.